Hey guys, it's Ugly Flies here. Today we're going to be tying a little wasp pattern I came up with yesterday just playing around. After I posted it, within 24 hours it was my highest performing video on TikTok and Instagram, despite me not even showing it tied. So I figured I'll leave it on my social media, and if people are interested in seeing it, they'll find it here on YouTube as a long form video. I'm using cheap hooks, so I don't really have a good size to give you. I mean, this is what I'm using. Best I can give you is here's a rusted penny. It's about the same length as the hook as far as diameter goes. I'm using some yellow thread. Now it's not waxed thread. It's as you can see, it's very loose thread, but I'm sure waxed thread would work just as well. And we're just going to get this started. Cut it off right there. Keep going back. You just want to keep going back. Get even wraps. Once you're about there, you don't want to get too far into the hook bend, otherwise it's not going to hook your fish. But you want to get far enough back to where you can give it some body. And I've got some UTC black vinyl rib. Good product. Not sponsored. It's just if you're tying flies, you got UTC. I know you do. And then we're tying that into the butt end. Get it nice and secured down. And now what I do is I just kind of do thread wraps until I can't see the black from this ribbing show through my thread anymore. And what my goal is to kind of build up a little tapered body at the butt. Since this is a wasp, they kind of have defined butts. Although when the UV resin goes on, we're not going to see much of that definition, but it will have a sheen and it'll last. So I'm going all the way back down to the eye, and I'm going to go all the way back down one more time. And the purpose of that is I'm just trying to get rid of some of the darkness from the hook that shows through my thread. If you've got a better thread, you're probably in better shape. And now I have been wrapping it to just about where the hook eye is. Well, the point, so that the thread touches the point. And from there, I tie a half hitch around it. Right there. That's good enough for me. You know, I'm not entering any competitions. And then, if you don't know what this is to hang your bobbin on. If you've got a rotary vise, and that half hitch and this setup here, really helpful, because now I can hold on to this ribbing and I can use my rotary function, and my thread's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to unwrap. It's not going to wrap itself somewhere. It's just going to, it's better. It's better. And you got a lot of people say rotary vices aren't as good because they got more moving parts. They're more prone to failing. And what I say to that is the use you get out of a rotary vise, just the convenience of it. I'd say it's worth the cost of replacement every now and again. I've not had to replace this one at all. And this is just a cheap one that I got off of Amazon. So we tie in that ribbing. I might come in here with my fingernail and adjust some spacing a little bit. Make it look a little more uniform. That's totally up to you. That'll do for me. I'm going to come in here and snip my excess. And sometimes your excess is going to be long enough to use as legs. And what I do is I've created this little bulge here where I tied that in at the end, and I'm going to tie one set of legs on this side. Now I'm sure you could do 6 legs if you want to get even more realistic with this pattern, but I'm just trying to, oh, there go my scissors. I'm trying to tie something I can get on and get quick. Got a lot of other things in my life that require time, and although I love tying flies, man, life's got other plans for my day, if you catch my meaning. So what we're going to do is just get this positioned where we want it. And then from there, I'm going to leave that hanging. I'm going to come in with some UV resin. This one's lemon yellow. It's another brand I picked off Amazon. It's worked pretty well so far. I wish they had finer nozzles, but I don't think they were designing it for precision UV work. I think they were giving it for more tiny mold casting. But that's alright. Forgive my hand being in frame for just a moment here. I'm trying to make sure I get an even coat that doesn't obstruct the legs. I'm sure you could find a way to tie the legs in after applying some UV, but this is just how I've been managing to do it with what I've got available. And that's a big part and an important aspect of tying your own flies, is you use what's available to you. That's how this tradition started. A lot of people are elitist about it. I don't particularly hold that sentiment. I think it started as people trying to trick fish, and they were tired of digging up worms, or just looking for an effective way. And when you can repeatedly use one lure, one hook, and catch multiple fish with it, it really shows its value. When that's one of your primary sources of food. I mean, fly tying's at least 2,000 years old. It's not something that's new. It's not a hobby. It's an ancient tradition. And you just use what you can work with and what you have. I mean, I don't see how you can be elitist about fly tying. I really don't. So now I'm just taking some dubbing. This is some Wapsi dubbing. It's a sow scud dubbing. It's the amber color, if I remember correctly. And I'm just going to get some dubbing on there. I'm going to tie it between the legs. And then in front of these front legs. Because we're trying to build a nice little smooth transition and a bit of a body. And this is where feather selection comes in. Now, you could use just your average thing, your average feather, and if you don't know how to get wings off of that, what you do is you take the edge of the feather here and you line it up to where your hook is at top like that, and you push your hook through it. And that's going to separate off a piece. That's basically ideal for the size of fly you're tying. That's one way to do it. The way we're doing it is I'm going to be using these. I've got a friend, a coworker who duck hunts, and he gave me a couple of his mallards this year. So I've got an excess of duck feathers. And you can see this one's a little damaged. Don't know how we can see that, but that doesn't matter for what we're doing. We're going to use that as a template. Actually, I'm just going to pull back these fibers to where that damage is. I'm going to even this feather out like that. And that's about right. I'm going to call it right. You could go a little smaller. You probably should. But for the sake of convenience and what else, I'm just going to leave it how it is. And then I'm using this second feather. I've put the first feather over it, and I'm using it as a template. So I can get kind of an even, symmetrical shape at the end, even though they're two different shaped feathers. Now, what I've got is two feathers that are the same size. So that's a helpful little trip. Then we tie this guy in here on one side, and we're going to do the same on the other. Just going to tie it in, give it a couple good wraps. Might need to twist the feathers a little bit, get the wings how you want them as far as shape and posture. I'm content with that. Although the wings are a little big, I'm going to tug them in just a bit. And then we'll get this nice little splayed effect where the remaining longer fibers at the bottom, they're going to splay out, which gives it a nice little buggy profile. And although it's unplanned, it's welcome. Happy mistakes, isn't that what Bob Ross said? All right. Snip off your excess clean it up a little bit. Now I feel like I should try to just give it a little more of that scud dubbing. That might be too much. Just a little bit. That's way too much. Unless I can tighten it down. I'm doing this backwards. Forgive me. We're gonna take some of our, where'd it go? Whiting Farms. I'm using size 12. And it works pretty good on this hook, so I'm assuming this hook is anywhere between, somewhere near a size 12. I'm going to tie in a little bit of hackle. Now I'll introduce this little bit of dubbing here to clean up where I tied in the hackle. Oh. Got a little extra dubbing here. I'm going to snip off and clean. And now I don't feel like tying a half hitch because I don't want to crowd the eye of the hook, so I'm just going to go in here manually. I'm going to tie in this hackle. Three or four wraps. That should do the trick. You don't want to get too crazy, but you don't want it to be too sparse. Trim off any excess. And then we're going to give this a nice little whip finish. Now for the legs, I'm going to grab both legs on one side. I'm going to go to where the butt is, where the stinger on the hornet would be. I'm going to trim there. So again, grab both legs, pull back to the end of that butt, and snip them both. And then we have our wasp. And again, here's a penny. Very dirty penny. I hope you guys liked my video. You can like, comment, subscribe, save for later whenever you're tying terrestrial patterns. There's no trout where I live, so I'm tying for fun. I'm not targeting trout. Do with that what you will. But there's a nice little pattern right there. It's not too difficult. I think it turned out all right.